All right, let's take a look at some of the tools that we're going to need for the course. So we are going to need a text editor, something to write our code in. We're also going to need a way to access the command line. And then finally, we're going to need Node.js to be installed. So if you already have a text editor, feel free to keep using it. But if you don't have one, or if you're just looking for a new one, I would highly suggest Sublime Text. You can get it over here at sublimetext.com, and you just need to follow the download link for whichever operating system you've got. I really like Sublime Text because it's a lightweight and easy to use text editor, and it's very responsive and it boots up really quickly. Now, you will have a default way of accessing the command line on your computer. If you're on a Mac, you can do it with the terminal application, and this is totally fine. Feel free to use this terminal application that comes by default. But I find it to be a little bit limiting in its features. And for that reason, I like iTerm 2, which totally just emulates the terminal application, but it's got some more features. Feel free to use it if you want, or if you don't, just use the standard one that comes with your computer. And if you're on Windows, you can access the command line with the command prompt. Finally, we're going to need Node.js. And the reason we're going to be using Node.js is for the package manager that comes with it called NPM. And NPM stands for Node Package Manager. And it's going to give us a way to pull in libraries like Angular and all of the other dependencies for our application without needing to download each of them manually and then managing them on our own. We're not actually going to be using Node to build a web server, although that's certainly something that we could do, but it won't be covered in this course. So let's grab version 4.2.2, and if we open it up, we will get the installation wizard. And we just have to click through and accept the terms. Alright, so it looks like everything was successfully installed, and you'll see a note here that says make sure that user local bin is in your path. And let's not get into too much detail about what exactly that means right now, but essentially what it comes down to is, depending on how things got installed, you might not be able to access the node and the npm commands in the terminal window. And so let me show you what I mean. If we come over here to our terminal window, I should have access now to the node command. I can use, say, one of its commands where it checks its version. And we see we get the version number there. However, if you got something that said command not found, like say from just a gibberish command, then something might be wrong with how you have your path variable set up. And so the fix for this depends on your own circumstance, and I've left some links in the description that have some resources for troubleshooting it. Alright, but it looks like that is good. We've got Node installed, and we'll check the npm version as well. So we get a version number there, and it looks like everything was good with that installation. Now, it's possible that with your setup, your username might not have permissions on the npm folder. And if that's the case, you'll still be able to use npm, but you would have to prefix all of your commands with sudo, which is a command that says run the following command as the root user. And so you would do sudo, and then you would do npm followed by whichever command you want to enter, and then it would ask for your password. So that's a little bit annoying, and the way that we can get around that is to take ownership of the npm directory. So here's the command to fix that. We need to run it as the root user first, and then we want to chown the folder that we're going to see in a second. We need to do it recursively, and then we want to pass in who am I, which is going to output your username. And finally, we need to name the directory that we want to take ownership of. And so we want the npm directory. So if we run that, we see it wants our password, which we enter. And we won't get a message for any kind of success, but everything should now be just fine with owning our npm directory. And if that didn't work, if you got any kind of error about the whoami variable, what you can do is just do sudo chown and then recursively, and then just put in your max username. And that should work just fine. Alright, so it looks like we're good to go. In the next video, we are going to set up our project directory.